if you watch some of my other videos or heard me lecture, you know my philosophy. My philosophy is this. We have to remove the interference and let the body do the healing. And really that's all we can do as physicians. There's things that interfere with our innate, inborn ability to heal themselves. God put it there, we cannot better upon it. Detox really applies to this, I think, more than any. However, with a subject like detox, there is more controversy and just bad teaching out there than any other subject. You know, foot baths, I can go through the list. Liver cleanses, colon cleanses, and some of these things may even do you some good. However, this is not how you get sick people well. This is not addressing the epidemic of toxicity today that's making so many people sick. You've heard me speak about the epidemic of inflammation causing heart disease, cancer, diabetes, weight loss resistant, hormone dysregulation. True cellular detox is the answer. This is what our doctors that I teach do. This is what I do in my clinic. This is what really has God revealed to me is being one of the answers to getting these unexplainable conditions well. I'm going to take you through this, and I don't want to talk over anyone's head, so I wish you could ask me questions, but I'm going to take it slow, and you can at least rewatch it a few times. But true cellular detox is something, and again, I really believe this is a revelation for me, but I have 5 R's of true cellular detox, hence the word TCD. I used to have 4 R's, but I have decided to make it 5 because I was teaching this R within this R. So we're going to make that clear here today. But this is obviously a cell. Now, within a cell, you have to understand that there's 2 fat membranes called a lipid bilayer, meaning 2 layers of fat that make up the cell membrane. This is really simply what I mean by true cellular detox. What happens is toxins come in and they start attaching themselves. And some of these toxins are even bad man-made fats that I talk about in some of my lectures. Some of these toxins are things that we're introduced to every day, flame retardants, plastics, different things like that, heavy metals. Well, these toxins come in and they actually attach to the cell membrane, and they cause the membrane to inflame. Once the membrane gets in this state of inflammation, something happens called a decrease in cellular fluidity. Simply means that things can't get in the cell that you need to make vital things like energy, and things can't get out of the cell. Simple principle. In this room that I'm in right now, if we lit a fire and we didn't have ability to get the smoke out, we would die. Well, the same thing happens to your cell. When you make this usable energy that your body needs for thinking, I mean, every process, this is the gasoline of your body. ATP. This is what you have to get glucose in the cell. There's a lot of different enzymes, vitamins, minerals that you need to make this energy so you feel good and can think and digest food, all the bodily functions that you know. Well, guess what? When the membrane is inflamed and you lose this cellular fluidity, now you can't get the good things in and you can't get the bad stuff out. See, because when you make ATP, you make waste, just like burning the fire in this room. And now it can't exit the cell. So the cell becomes what? It becomes toxic. It becomes a cesspool. So now you're trying to take all these vitamins and minerals and doing all these things, but really, guys, it's right here. It has to occur at the cell. So true detox has to occur at the cell. This is the key to getting sick people well. This is why most of you don't feel well. You start losing cellular energy, and the only way really to reestablish it is fix the cell. And there's something else that you're going to learn about. There's something called glutathione that every cell in your body has to have. If your cell does not have glutathione, it dies. Plain and simple. Glutathione is how your body naturally gets rid of toxins at the cellular level. Glutathione is also your body's strongest antioxidant. So it's why vitamin C and E even work. So glutathione is critical. Once the cell becomes toxic, this major shield or defense, glutathione drops. If you haven't seen the video on the product I created called CytoCleanse, watch the video. And I believe it's in this under detox. But I created a product that actually addresses the majority of these 5 R's, but one of the things that it does is it really raises this defense shield. And I always say that this is the key today. This is the multivitamin everybody needs to take, because most Americans are glutathione deficient, which, guess what, makes you more susceptible to the toxins around you. You start to lose cellular function, and inflammation and oxidative stress start causing more and more cellular problems. Now you have 2 cells that can't communicate between each other. Okay, so let's go through the 5 R's. See, I almost said 4 because I made it 5, but let's go through it. Number 1 is remove the source. What do I mean by that? Well, twofold. Number 1 is that if you have silver fillings in your mouth, that could be a source. You're never going to fix this cell if your body's leaching mercury, which it does, and if you haven't seen that mercury video or a dental video, watch that. But these things leach mercury, which obviously affect you at the cell. If you're living in a moldy house, is another great example. That is a source that can keep you sick. Now, of course, there's other toxins as well, but those, definitely 2 of the main ones. So we have to remove the source or work on removing the source to actually get the cell to function and heal and to detox. Number 2 is we have to regenerate the cell membrane. I just said that when you lose the cellular fluidity and things can't cross over the cell membrane or it slows it down, it affects cell function. And that is critical. True cellular detox, you must regenerate the cell membrane. And obviously we have methods to do that effectively. And number 3, you have to restore this vital cell energy. As a matter of fact, that's typically one of the first things I have to do in my most challenged patients, because if you do not have enough energy to heal, the cell will not be able to heal. So sometimes we start with this one right here. And number 4 is reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Guys, look, if we don't reduce this inflammation, and there's also an inner membrane, the mitochondria, whereas this is where you actually make that usable energy, the gasoline, the ATP. This membrane here gets inflamed, now you're in big trouble. We have to fix and we have to reduce this inflammation on these membranes. If you do that, you will not detox, you will not get well. And lastly is restore methylation pathways. And again, I used to teach that within number 4, but I think it's important to break it out. If you've watched my hormone videos on estrogen and the other hormones, I talk about the importance of methylation as far as removing cells. Glutathione is a master methylator. You need it to get rid of toxins. Methylation is one of those things that you need to function normally. It deals with adrenaline. It deals with how you feel, anxiety, the way you think, the way you sleep, all these different bodily functions. When your cell becomes toxic, you lose these methylation pathways, or they get diminished, and it is impossible to get a sick person well without restoring these methylation pathways. And please, watch the hormone video, because it is impossible to normalize or regulate hormones again without reestablishing these pathways. This is true cellular detox. In a nutshell, this is how we get sick people well. I hope that helps.